Thank you for being here with me today. I would love to know who you are and where you're based and whether you know anything about Profit First or not. So chuck that in the comments. Today's going to be absolutely interactive. If you have any questions whatsoever, pop them in the chat or in the Q&A. Michelle's here to help us with that as well. And then I will leave a lot of the questions until the end because there is a lot that we cover today, and we will have a dedicated time for questions and answers. Hi, Melanie, Canberra-based, reading the book, love it. Cherie, Gold Coast, read the book, Auckland-based, awesome. Amazing. I love that we've got New Zealand and different places in Australia. Hey, Annie, I love that. Proud Profit First professional. Gabriella, welcome, welcome. Hey, Nick. Amazing. Okay. So what I'm going to start with is by asking a few questions, and I'd love to understand where you sit with this. So today we're going to be talking about, obviously, Profit First as a service that generates revenue and return on investment for coaches. And what we're going to look at is what this actually means, like how you can deliver it, what the prices that you can charge, how it fits into your business, and hopefully answer all of your questions. So anyone here have clients that are not taking action because they don't have clarity on what they can afford? So I know that I speak to a lot of business coaches and business advisors out there who, you know, have really great sessions with their clients, but find that they don't take the action because they've got other stresses that are keeping them stuck. So I'd love to know, is this something that you experience? Is this something that you can relate to? I also know that for many, many clients, the issue isn't the support in relation to the strategy and that sort of thing, but it is the cash flow issues that keep them stuck, that they don't understand, you know, what they can do. So you might have a marketing strategy that you talk to them about that is something that they get, but then they don't implement or action because they don't have the clarity around what cash flow is happening or whether or not they can afford something. So how many of you try to get your clients to move forward but really feel that cash flow is a problem? I'd love to know in the comments. I see that Gabriella, you say that cash flow is always the major issue. We've got a yes from John there. Awesome. I also know that a number of coaches specialize in particular areas, whether it's, you know, marketing or sales or pricing or, you know, a more holistic aspect, but don't really touch on the finances or touch maybe, you know, look at the profit and loss and the balance sheet, but don't really go into the real detail of money management. And I'd love to know, is this something that you do as a business coach, or is this something that you would love to add to, you know, really integrate a money management system that fills that piece of the puzzle? So I can see that money's a focus for Gabriella and that you'd love to add that. Amazing. The other thing that I know that a lot of coaches are looking for is a more holistic approach so that you can talk about all of the areas of business, including the money side. But the issue being that the confidence in the subject and also having a framework that you know that your clients will understand and therefore implement and move forward. I love these comments. Like to have better systems to do so, confident with the subject. Didn't know before, being such a great tool to share with clients. Amazing. The other thing that we want to consider as well is time. A lot of the time, clients tell you they don't have time. And so anything that's complicated or an additional thing that they need to learn that requires their brain power and, you know, understanding all of the things that are not of interest to them really doesn't help them. And so I'd love to know how many of you hear this from your clients. How many of you hear, you know, time's a bit of a problem, or if I had the time, I'd do this thing. The great news is that Profit First does not require a finance degree. The other thing that I've heard from a couple of the coaches that have, that's right, don't make the time. A couple of the coaches that have been in contact with me directly have said they've read Profit First themselves. They've implemented in their business and seen the transformation for themselves. And now they really want to share it with their clients. And I'm here today to explain to you a bit about what Profit First is, what it looks like as a service offering for coaches, but also how simple it is for your client to understand, and you're in the perfect position as a coach so that, because you're not being bogged down in the day-to-day with them, you can be proactive and you can be future-paced. So let's keep it simple. Let's look at what Profit First is, how certification works, what services you can offer, some real life examples of Profit First professionals and what they're doing, as well as how this can work for you. So again, if you have any questions, pop them in. Before we dive into that, I'd love to just welcome you. My name is Laura, aka the Profit Pioneer, and this was a name and a title that I put together because of the different way that we were doing things. So I myself have been a Profit First professional for over 6 years now. And what I want to share with you today is that I do it in one of my own businesses, and that is my Laura Elkeslasi & Co brand. This is a coaching business where we have 3 pillars: strategy, energy, and profit. And Profit First is an absolute foundation in everything that we coach and teach, from our mastermind to our pricing, to our one-on-one clients, to our courses. It's also given the opportunity for me to be able to speak in other people's networks and do modules in their businesses and programs. And I'd love to share with you how you can do it too. But most importantly, I'm also the CEO of Profit First Australia and New Zealand, and my role is to help other accountants, bookkeepers, and coaches to become Profit First professionals so that they can eradicate the cash flow problems that we see with small business today. So I'd love to know from you, how many of you feel like you know Profit First really well? Some of you really familiar, some of you not quite sure. I'd love to know in the comments. For those of you that are a bit familiar, but not hugely familiar, those of us that know it reasonably well, it's always good to ensure that we're on the same page. So I am going to go over just in, an overview of what Profit First is. So I love that. Game changer, familiar, semi, a little, love it. You're in the right spot. So as we know, it's a broken formula, the accounting principle of sales minus expenses equals profit, because what it does is basically say that whatever money we come in, we're going to spend, and then if we have anything left over, which is an afterthought, we'll have some profit. But what this does is it means that we're ignoring the human behavior and focusing only on the numbers and what has happened. And as Profit First professionals, and the idea of Profit First is, we don't want to change people's habits, we want to leverage them. And what does that mean? How many of you check your bank account and make decisions? I'd love to know that. I know I do. I absolutely will look at my bank account and go, yes, I have money today, or no, I can't do this. Yes, I do. Great. Yeah, it's human behavior. And so instead of trying to change that, Profit First leverages this. And the way that we start to leverage this behavior is by the law known as Parkinson's law. How many of you are familiar with Parkinson's law? So Parkinson's law states that whatever time you have available is the time that it will take for things to happen. It's the exact same thing with money. If you have $10,000 in that bank account, you are going to spend $10,000. It is Parkinson's law, it is human behavior. And so what we want to look at with Profit First is the portion size. I know that when I go to the buffet, I eat way too much, but when I'm wanting to, look after my weight and my waistline, I'm going to use smaller plates. And so the idea being with Profit First, that instead of having that one bank account where you make assumptions that you have enough money for this thing until that surprise bill comes in and you're like, where'd the money go? And instead having the multiple bank accounts that have a purpose. The other thing that it does is that it removes temptation. So the profit that we put aside is set aside specifically for that we have the money to pay our GST and our tax, that we can pay ourselves, not just maybe pay ourselves sometime when we get to that point. And so I'm going to give you an example today in terms of the allocations, and that is, instead of deciding on a dollar amount that you're going to move around from each account, it's all based on percentages. And on this slide, you can see that this is an example of a business of business sizes from $0 to $250,000. And we do have, if you haven't read the book, different categories. As the business grows, the percentages do change. And within our university, we do have Australianized and also New Zealand percentages based on what we know about businesses. But the point being that no matter what the person earns, they know what to do with their money, that they put 5% of the money that's sitting in their income account, which is their main account, and the sole purpose is that money accumulates. And then they move 5% to the profit account, 15% to the tax account, 50% to themselves as owners, because as we know, a lot of the time owners, especially in startup, don't want to pay themselves. And it is an absolute detriment because they're working in their business. But also as they grow, how can they possibly afford to pay someone else if they're not paying themselves? And then what is left, the 30%, is what you have available to run your business. I know before I implemented Profit First, I had, I'd overspent, or I thought I had more money. And then, the GST came in and it was not the right amount of money in my bank account at that point in time. But what's really important is that allocation is key. So there's an order that the number one thing they do is put the money to the profit account, because it's not just about moving money. It's about starting that mindset that you want profit, you want to see cash profit in your business, that you would like, that you are prioritizing this. It's not an afterthought. Then looking after yourself as the owner, because you are working in that. Then the tax man, and then expenses. And so this is an example of what it looks like in bank accounts. For those of you that may have set it up, I'd love to know your experience. Do you have the multiple bank accounts? How are you finding it? And for those that haven't, it looks like it might be a lot of bank accounts, but it makes such a difference, because at an absolute snippet, you can see what's happening. So income, what's sitting there, operating expenses, you can make decisions, tax, you can see exactly what's happening. And one of the things that I hear is that the more bank accounts you have, the more work it is. And that's absolutely not true if you have it set up properly. And the reason being is that implementation rhythm is key. And so what Profit First states in the book is the 10th and the 25th, you should transfer your money. Within Australia and New Zealand, what we say is that there needs to be a rhythm that should be implemented based on what makes sense for the business. But whether it be the same Monday or Friday or weekly or fortnightly or monthly, it is the same each time. And the reason being is that you can start to see the cycles of business, the peaks and troughs, and start to see any problems before they happen. Because if you're doing the same thing each month or week or fortnight, you can see when things change before it becomes a really big problem. The other thing being that Profit First is flexible. So a lot of people think it has to be just those 5 bank accounts. But and as a Profit First professional, what you learn is that it depends on the business, what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, what makes sense to them. And I can see that there's a question in the chat that's like, staff wages, is that part of expenses? Yes, it is. But in a lot of cases, you can set up a wages account that forms part of the operating expenses. And so it really is about understanding what are the challenges, what are the goals, and what bank accounts really make sense for the business owner. And Profit First is all about that flexibility. The other thing that I want to share with you today about Profit First is that rolling out Profit First isn't all or nothing. It can be staged, and depending on what's happening, it may not be possible to do it all at once. And as a Profit First professional, this is something that you learn to be able to look at, well, what can be possible for this business and at what stage. So it's a matter of knowing, well, this is the goal, this percentage, but where are you now? So if someone's at negative 90% in cash profit, you can't expect the next day that they're going to be 5% profit as the goal. And so it really is about rolling it out and making it doable for the business owner. And one of the really important aspects of Profit First is all about the profit account and the function of it. So the profit account not only accumulates the fund, but each quarter you get to distribute it. And there's 3 different options that you use for it. The first is that at the end of the quarter, the owner gets to take a distribution. And what we say is that 50% can go to the owner and the other 50% goes towards the rainy day or the buffer. Start to build that. We want 3 to 6 months worth of buffer within the profit account, which then moves to the profit hold, and the rest goes to the owner. It's about rewarding them for the work that they've done, for them to be able to see that each quarter, if they bring in X revenue and distribute it in this way, you can reverse engineer sales goals for them. You can reverse engineer what expenses they're foreseeing, and they can have a map and a guide and what their profit account can be doing for them. And the third option of the profit account is to crush debt. So the idea being that if you have a business, or you yourself might have some debt, that the monthly repayments of the debt come out of the operating expense account, and the profit account each quarter, you can move up to 99% of that to pay off debt. And I'm not saying you do all of these three things at once. And again, it really depends on what are the goals of the business and how are you wanting to do it with them. But for a lot of people, debt is a problem. And so they would like to use 99% of the profit account to be able to pay off debt, and then the remaining amount either accumulate and or give it to themselves. And so it really is about setting yourself up as well as your clients with bank accounts that make sense and percentages that make sense. And the biggest thing about it is if they stick with it, or if you stick with it and you distribute on a rhythm and you adjust as things change, it does absolutely change lives, and it works every single time. And so what I'd like to share with you, rather than just taking my word for it, is what are some of the things that people have been able to do with the implementation of Profit First. So we have had clients go from below minimum wage to their desired wage in 6 to 12 months. We have had people increase their revenue by 50% because the Profit First assessment and implementation has shown them that pricing is an issue. So they haven't had to do more work, they've just had to adjust their pricing. Other people have paid off debt of $150,000 within 18 months. And I'd love to know, for those of you that are utilizing Profit First, what are some of the outcomes that you've seen for yourself? If you could want to share that in the chat, that would be amazing. We've also had clients, through working with Profit First professionals, know what money is available for marketing spend, for ad spend, for team, for support, and grow in a way that doesn't put them backwards before they go forwards. They get to grow in a way that is sustainable for them. And for others, it's about working less due to knowing that not just working less, but also having to earn less revenue, because by knowing what percentages for each of these accounts and therefore running their business, they realize that the sales goal or the revenue goal that they're striving for actually wasn't necessary, and could earn less, but still have more by implementing Profit First. So I can see here that people are saying conscious spending, love that. Paying yourself regularly, not spending every cent earned by my business. I did that too, Lisa. I have over allowed for actual tax due, so that gave myself a bonus. I love that. Better decisions for investments back into the business. Yes, Nathan. And that is the biggest thing that Profit First does. And this is a myth that I want to bust right now. And that is that Profit First only works for businesses that have issues. And that is not the case. It works for businesses that are in growth phase, it works for startups, and it works for big business as it does for small, because it allows you to make better decisions and you can invest back into the business, but it's in a conscious way. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today was some of the challenges or the questions that I get from business coaches around Profit First as a service, such as what a Profit First offering could look like for a coach, what you could charge, how it can fit into their existing business model so that it's not just another thing to learn or another service, how to get existing clients excited about Profit First, finding the time to get certified, and also what the return on investment for money and time is to become a certified Profit First professional. So I'm going to dive in and give you all of the answers, and we're absolutely going to look at what Profit First is as a service specifically for coaches. So if you are here and you are an accountant or a bookkeeper, we did do other webinars on this that speak specifically to that. Today is around the coaching side of things. So let's start with the concept of time again. I know that we have a limited resource when it comes to time. And so what I want to show you today are the numerous possibilities of how you can implement Profit First with your existing offerings. Yes, Profit First can be its own standalone offering, but to show you how you can easily integrate this in what you're already doing and leverage and offer additional support to your clients. So the first being online group courses. So a number of coaches that we have within the community, as well as those that I've spoken to, have some sort of online course. And what they have done is created either a module within their existing courses that is Profit First specific, teaching their clients not only how to implement Profit First, but the mindset, the money mindset behind that, as well as creating standalone Profit First courses. And I will be sharing in a second actual Profit First professionals that have courses and programs and one-on-one clients and what they do, so that you can get an idea for that. But it doesn't mean you have to have a separate thing. You can integrate that. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is, as a coach in a specific speciality, or if you know of other people that teach other things but are missing that money piece, you can offer to do a module within their program as the Profit First professional to help more and more people. So it's not just about creating stuff in your business. You can also offer this for other people. The other way that Profit First can be implemented for business coaches is either online masterclasses or workshops. And I'll be sharing in a minute Amy, who does specifically this and what it looks like for her. But the idea being that, just like I'm talking to you right now about Profit First, in my own business, I've run a number of different masterclasses and workshops in person and online, not only around Profit First, but what it can show. So an example being that with the implementation of Profit First, we got to look at, well, what are the red flags for pricing, or how do you work out exactly how much you need or can afford to grow your team or make some really good business investment decisions. The other thing that this does is implement beautifully with any one-on-one coaching. So a lot of our members state that without the numbers, the goals don't get reached as quickly as without them. And so if you're working already with one-on-one clients, implementing the Profit First assessment as a basis of, this is where you're at with your business, this is what your money's currently doing, and this is where you'd like to go, and here's the gap, and here is how we can do it together and roll that out, along with your expertise and speciality. The next thing is the group coaching. So group coaching, not only for yourself, but for other people as well. I personally am an expert that comes into other people's networks and speaks specifically to Profit First, pricing, financial management, money management. It's not something that I necessarily need to do in terms for myself, but these are opportunities that present themselves for coaches. And on the opportunities tract, we see the number of opportunities for speaking, whether that is at conferences, on podcasts, in other people's networks. When you can speak about Profit First or a framework that works, the opportunities are endless. And we have all of these resources available in the university for you so that you can modify them as suits you. And the other thing that I wanted to impart is that we have businesses that are looking for coaches, meaning to our website each day, and we have multiple requests to work with Profit First professionals. 30% of leads specifically ask for help with business coaching and Profit First. So I wanted to, drop that statistic, and this isn't in relation to those that are looking generally on Google. This is those that come through our website. And so you're in the right place if you're a coach who has an established business with active clients, that you're looking for new ways to assist your clients with proven results, that you have a genuine desire to really help your clients. Profit First and the community as well is all about not just knowing how to do it, but how to really and genuinely help your clients to get out of the cash flow issues, but also realize their dreams, as well as wanting to become more profitable yourself. because we want you to be just as profitable as we do your clients, and that you're looking to build a more holistic way of helping your clients, including the financial aspect. Now, the question that we get is, well, what does the training look like? And what I want to share with you today is that it starts with the certification. We have within here, it's just the starting point. We have tools and a process that you step through in terms of learning what Profit First is, how it works, what are the tools that come with it. And it is on a one-on-one basis that you learn it, because if you can do it on a one-on-one basis, you can then implement it in any way that works. And every single Profit First professional learns it in this way and then gets to choose how they work with it. And so what needs to happen? You need to implement it in your own business. So we as Profit First professionals need to walk the talk and guide you to be as profitable as possible, so that you understand not only the principles of Profit First, but some of the challenges that can come with it, or the things that you didn't even realize were possible. The book is just the starting point, and we've gone deep in understanding exactly what it looks like in different industries, the things to consider when it comes to rolling it out with different types of clients and all of that. I love that, John, starting with 1%, absolutely. But not just that, every single Profit First professional who's implemented themselves have realized what a difference it's made, even if they were in a really great position. The second part of certification is implementing in 2 beta clients. And what that looks like is we give you all of the training around how to do a Profit First assessment, how to roll it out with your client, how you review things with them, and what it looks like to continue to work with them. And the idea being that it's a pilot and a run through for you from your side to really get to know what are some of the things that come up for them, and have us as your support to be able to answer the questions. Now, this isn't something you have to do for free a lot. And what we recommend is that charging 50% of what the fee would be, so that they get an amazing deal, but you're also getting to learn at the same time. And then the third part of the certification is to integrate it into your business offerings. So today I've spoken about what are the different options of being able to do that. And whilst you learn and are certified in a very specific one-on-one way, from a profit assessment into a rollout and all of the areas that come with that, it then means that you can take this information and either take it into a one-to-many format, do it as part of a keynote or a workshop, or keep it within your one-on-one clients and have it as another tool within your tool belt. And then to ensure that all of our Profit First professionals know what they're doing, there is an exam, and there is a 90% pass rate, but by the time you get to it, you'll be passing that with flying colors. And the other thing about this is that it is teachable and scalable. So it doesn't have to just depend on you. You can, if you have team, you can get your team to help you with the different areas of Profit First, and you get to do the fun stuff. And it's scalable in terms of if it is something that you do in a one-to-many format, it's absolutely possible to scale that, because we have coaches that come to us wanting different things. And the last but not least part of being a Profit First professional is differentiation. So immediately you'll be able to differentiate yourself from other coaches in your industry. And so I do see that there's a couple of questions, and I will come back to that at the end. But I wanted to show you this. So we took a global survey of all Profit First professionals, and what we saw is the increase to top line revenue by becoming a Profit First professional versus others in the industry, and what that looks like over the period. So I thought I love a statistic. Thought you might like it too. But more importantly, I'd like you to meet some of the Profit First professionals and what it is that they're doing, so that you can really understand what they're charging, what the return has been for them, and what they're doing with their clients. So I'd love for you to meet Marcus. So Marcus has been a business coach for over 25 years. He's an author, and he's also a Mastery Profit First professional. And his sole reason initially for becoming a Profit First professional was a marketing differentiator. Because for those of you that have been in the industry for a while, business coaching is thought of as a broad stroke, and this allowed him to really differentiate himself from his market. The other thing that came as a surprise to him is that he gained confidence through implementing the systems with his clients and stuff to increase his prices from what he was charging, which was still very good. He was charging $2,000, $2,500 per month, and was able to increase these prices to $3,500, $4,000, depending on the clients that he had per month on an ongoing basis. He also said that the framework made such sense to his clients, and that he could work with less clients and really help them go deeper and reach their goals through utilizing this. So again, if you have any questions around return on investment or anything like that, feel free to drop it in the chat. Amy is also a coach, and she's one of our Profit First professionals. And as she said here, she found that Profit First is the guiding light because the numbers don't lie, and that her clients report clarity and allowing them to really get to their goals and dreams in a way that works for them. And I want to talk to you about Amy and how she does things. So Amy does not work full-time in her business. She has another business as well, which is in a completely different industry. She was letting me know that she works about 10 to 15 hours per week on this business, and that 2 hours of that per week is showing up to her community and calls, and that she sells a Profit First she has a free Profit First masterclass that she did live for a number of months that then converts people into her course, her Profit First course. And what she has reported is that her monthly recurring revenue is now $17,000 to $20,000 per month based on a masterclass into the course. And that she changed her masterclass from a live version of it to an evergreen version that then converts into the course. And that if she were to spend more time in her business, that she could easily double this. And so I'm sharing this with you so that you can really see, one, how different people do different things, and also what sort of pricing they put on stuff. And then the third Profit First professional that I would like you to meet is Katie. So Katie is the author of Profit First for Tradies. She is a Profit First coach, and she's a mastery level PFP. And what she's so nicely done is shared her revenue splits. So Katie has 3 main ways that she helps her clients. The first being the Kickstart 12-week program. So this is an introduction to Profit First that she does over 12 weeks in a group format. And this is something that she put together after she became certified, because she knew that it would help her tradies in a way that would fast track their Profit First implementation. She also has people come to her for Profit First assessments. So the profit assessments is what you're trained in and certified in as a way of us ensuring that you understand Profit First. But she has a number of people who are working with other coaches or consultants that just need some clarity around what their business is doing, what money they have available, so that they can go and implement the goals and dreams that they have with these other consultants. And so she will do Profit First assessments, and that, to her surprise, made up 27% of her revenue. And then the 26% is her 12-month program. So her 12-month program is, again, a group program that's 12 months long, all about Profit First, but goes deeper. And so she works with very minimal one-on-one clients, and those that do work with her one-on-one do it in a 12-week intensive one-on-one, and she charges $16,500 for that. And that is because of the changes that she can get for them, as well as the change to their life that they get. And so again, this is very much in the way that Katie does this, and it works for her. That other 16% is other revenue that she gets from doing bits and pieces, such as doing masterclasses for other business coaches or workshops and that sort of stuff. So as you can see, there are a number of different ways that people are not only utilizing Profit First, but earning more than what they're paying in terms of the investment here, as well as the impact that they're having on their clients. So the other thing that I would like to share with you is that it really does have to be the right fit for you, for your business, for your clients, but also for the community. So if we have Profit First professionals here, I know Annie, you're in the house. I'd love to know if you can confirm or deny what I'm saying, but it really is about the right people. So those that are being proactive, really want to make a difference in terms of cash flow and eradicating the entrepreneurial poverty that we see, that are collaborative. Our community is incredibly collaborative, from sharing exactly what they're doing, how much they're charging, and also giving, I guess, their resources and advice as well. We want you to be willing to share and learn and be really open-minded. And we want you to be profitable, because if you don't want to be profitable, then Profit First won't have the same impact, and that you want to work in a way that serves you and your clients. There is an interview process, and this is where we really do look at what are you trying to achieve? How do you help your clients? But also, how can we help you? And if there is a right fit, then we move forward. But if not, it's no problem at all. We want this to work, and we want this to be the right thing for you. But I will just say that you really can either stay stuck in the way of not really helping your clients to the same degree that you'd like to, or becoming the Profit First professional that you potentially want to be, to then help them roll out Profit First. Now, I want to talk about the nitty-gritties of what you need to know. Certification normally takes about 3 to 6 months. It can be less. We do have fast track options that happen throughout the year. The next one won't be until June or July, but it takes about 3 to 6 months on average, and that's about 2 hours per week. And that is your own self-paced learning and attending the course. It does include an exam that requires a 90% pass rate. And you do need to implement Profit First in your own business and your 2 beta clients. So I do want to share with you some bonuses that we have available until the end of March. So for those of you that feel like this is a full body, yes, want to be doing this, we've got training and resources that are available to you, as well as a one-on-one strategy session with me, so that we can ensure that you build Profit First as a service in your business. We are open until the 31st of May. So if now's not the right time, that's completely fine. You're more than welcome to join anytime up until the 31st of May. And then we close our community until September, and there's only 2 opens per year. The pricing, in terms of what that looks like, we have a tiered step pricing, and the certification and membership is not separate. It is all together. You get access to not only the certification, but all of our resources, one-on-one support, group calls, and all of the marketing and sales support that you need. And then each year it reduces from there. So for the first year, it's $9,900 or $990 per month, and then it goes down to $7,700 and down from there. The reason we do this is that there's quite a lot of support and investment that you put into it, and we also put into you for the first few years, in terms of ensuring that if you need help with that client, you get help with that client. And then as you get more experienced, there's less sort of intensive support that's needed, and we'd like to reflect that. And by that stage, your return on investment is more than there as well. So if you have any questions, so if you're interested to know more, but not quite ready yet, then please feel free to book a Q&A call. This is with either Michelle, Aisha, or Najma. They're our Profit First guides, and they will answer any questions that you have in relation to how it fits in your business, what it looks like, or anything that I haven't answered. We still are going to be getting to the questions area. And Michelle will, this is all in Australian dollars or New Zealand dollars. So if you are in New Zealand, it is the same in New Zealand dollars. It's whatever your currency is. So that's a great question, John. Michelle will drop a link into the chat, or you can scan the QR code to book in a Q&A call. If you're feeling like you're ready and would like to book an interview, then you can go ahead and book that interview via that link or the QR code. And you'll be speaking to either myself or the guides, depending on who has availability first. And it's more about that fit. How do you want to integrate it? What could it look like? What could you possibly be charging? What does it look like in terms of time and that sort of thing, or any questions that you might have, but more for the purpose of, is this the right next step for you? And I'd love to issue you a challenge. And that is, if you consider 10% of your clients, so your top clients, and you were to introduce them to some of the ways that I've shared today around Profit First and what you could potentially be doing with them, what would that do for your business, your revenue, and your profitability? And how would that allow you to be proactive, future-paced, and helping them to really realize their goals? And I'd love, feel free to email us afterwards and give us that answer. We'd love to know, because we really do want to support you. And I also would like to share why I'm talking about this. And the reason being is that and I've already stated this, it can be an absolute game changer for you and your business, not just your clients. So as you saw with Marcus, Amy, and Katie, it very much is dependent on how you want to do it. And we're here to support you for that. It also stops the cash flow issues and helps people to spend more time on the things that they want to as well. And so to just let you know some of the benefits, there are global calls. So we are a global community. Everything that you need is within our time zone, Australia, New Zealand, but you do get access to the global calls if you'd like to join that. We do have one-on-one support calls from guides, and we have a guide, Michelle, who is absolutely amazing in marketing and branding and those things there. We've got Aisha, who is amazing with mindset and accountability and a plan for your business, and Najma, who is the technical Profit First guru and also long-standing Profit First professional herself. So it's not just about doing things on your own. We also have open office calls each week, alternating times and days of the week. And that is where we are either diving deeper into an area of Profit First or answering any questions, sharing challenges or experiences as well. We also have all of the marketing resources that you could need, as well as tools, calculators, and the stuff that you need to implement this with your clients. And we're all about supporting you. So yeah, there's a lot in here, and I know that it's a lot, but it is worthwhile asking the questions if you do have questions. And just a reminder that if you book before the 31st of March and sign up, you get those bonuses. And again, if you've missed it, there's a Q&A call here, which will go into the chat and the interview. Now on to the fun part, the questions, because I know that everyone is absolutely wanting to have all of their questions answered. And I will start with the first one that's just kind of popped up here, and that is, how long is the interview? So the Q&A call is about 15 minutes. So it's just to answer any questions because you're not quite sure or you need more clarification. The interview, we allow for up to half an hour. And it really is more about the fit, making sure that you can make the difference, make the money, and do it in a way that suits you, as well as know how we work and what is expected of you. So it's not a rigorous, you need to sit an exam or anything like that. It's just more to ensure that there's a fit both sides. The other question that I've got here is, when does certification start? So certification is whenever you sign up. It's a rolling thing. You always have support. Your learning starts as soon as you say yes. And we would like you to get certified within the first year. Most people get it done within 3 to 6 months. In relation to, Drew, your question, how much extra per team member? So there's two options for you. The first option is that you are the Profit First professional that's getting certified and gets all of our support, and you give access to your team, but you're the one to train them and support them, and there's no cost for that. So we have a number of members that use a support person to potentially do Profit First assessments or I guess the nitty-gritty of things, so that you can turn up and they don't get access to any of the calls or the events or one-on-one support. You do. Or if you want to add a team member to also get certified and have all of the same support as you, it's 50% of the fee. So yeah. And now, Gabriella, time for certification, did you say 2 hours per day or per week? Per week. The more time you can give to it, the faster you'll get it done. But that said, we do recommend attending the open office quite regularly. That happens once per week for an hour with the community, because there's absolute gold within there around what they're doing, how they're doing things, mistakes they've made or they've seen from their clients and that sort of thing, because there's the technical, but there is also the lived experience and getting the help. So the 2 hours per week would allow you to do an hour's worth of training and an hour call. We do also have meet and action sessions where if you want to work specifically on Profit First and you want some support in a particular area, you can jump into a breakout room with one of the guides or just work there doing the Pomodoro method on a particular thing. So we find that that works really well for our members. Also have another question here that says, you know, not being an accountant or a bookkeeper, like how do I teach Profit First and finances and money management? And I just want to confirm that you don't have to be a finance professional, because you're taught absolutely everything that you need around Profit First that allows you to be able to help your clients to not only understand it, but roll it out and do those things. And we find that if you don't have the accountant or bookkeeper hat, it's a lot easier to absorb and integrate the Profit First methodology, because you don't have that prior training in accounting principles and balancing books and that sort of thing. So it works for accountants, bookkeepers and coaches, and you're in an amazing position to be able to help your clients in that proactive way. And just checking if there's any more questions here. If a business owner on payroll, do you still put aside owner's pay? Okay, cool. So happy to answer specific Profit First questions as well. Yes, you still put it into the owner's pay account, because that allows for them to see exactly how much money is there for them. So the technical of the payroll still happens and the net amount would come out of the owner's pay, but what you'd have within there as well as the PAYG and super too, so that everything to do with the owner or any money that they draw out of the business is allocated to that. So yeah, just going back to, do you take into consideration household expenses as well? So the Profit First methodology is business first, because they need to understand what's happening there, but we have a number of Profit First professionals that work within the personal, because if you find that the issue is that the client is taking too much money from the business because personally they are struggling or they're overcommitted or they don't have the clarity there, then it absolutely works in the personal finances as well. I'm just checking for any other questions. Okay, I think that's everything from in the chat. Feel free to pop it down again if I've missed anything at all. The other thing is we get asked, do we have in-person events that you have to attend? And I just wanted to confirm that everything that you need is online. We do have in-person events that are not mandatory, but they do, they are available to members as well, such as our ProfitCon that's coming up in October this year, and the Mastery members have a meetup and that sort of thing, and there are informal catch-ups that happen with members as well, but you don't have to, because we do have members all around Australia and in New Zealand. So how do you pay membership fees? In what way? The membership fees, in terms of how do they fit into Profit First, they become part of your operating expenses, and you'd work out that percentage there. I think that's what you're asking, but feel free. No, is there a payment plan? Okay, yes. So there is the upfront amount for the first year is $9,900 or $990 per month. It is a 12-month commitment. And the reason why we have that 12-month commitment is it takes time for you to really understand Profit First and how to integrate it in your business, and also start to see the results as well and get your groove with it. So it is a payment plan of the $990 or the upfront of $9,900. Were there any other questions in relation to that? Just wanted to remind you that there are these trainings such as preparing your business for Profit First, what the power of Profit First is, so things that you can share with your clients such as how they know what they can afford for team and that sort of thing, and outsourcing, how to price your Profit First services, and how to build a business that you love, as well as that one-on-one business strategy session as well. So again, if you have any questions that are specific to your business at all, feel free to book a call with Michelle, Aisha, or Najma. They'll be really happy to answer anything that relates to that. And if you're ready to book an interview, feel free to do so. If anyone has any sort of last minute questions that they'd like answered, or if you feel like I have missed anything, please do let me know. Otherwise, I really look forward to chatting with you. And here's to taking your profit first. And we look forward to hopefully chatting soon. Thanks so much.